still talking about issues that matter to him and issues that Donald Trump plans to bring up in the debate. But in the middle of all of that, we got a guy who's trying to improve the discourse in this election year by elevating it, or trying to. The actor Kirk Cameron, of course, remember for a lot of things, Growing Pains has won a couple of global award nominations and on and on. And I had already told my staff I didn't want him on set with me because he's such a good-looking guy. So I'm a little upset, but he's here, whatever. Kirk Cameron, very good to see you.
Great to see you. It's an honor to be here. Truly.
Yeah, I don't want to get into politics with you, and I think that would be sully what you're trying to do, because next week you're having this event where you're uniting people in 1,000 different theaters, but it's not a movie, but it's about ethics and morals, decency. Explain.
That's right. We can't escape what's going on politically. We're all in the midst of all of it and all deeply concerned. I visit churches all over the country, and moms and dads are constantly telling me, I'm concerned for our kids' future. The nation's on the wrong track. What can we do? And so many people, I find, lose hope at a time like this. And I want to say, wait a minute. There's never been a better time, a more exciting time in America to be a Christian or to be a person of deep faith. This could be our finest hour.
It's challenging, right? I mean, how do you tell, as a deeply
but that's
religious
what we're here for.
Guy yourself, you might have caught a piece in the Wall Street Journal, this conundrum a lot of evangelicals, for lack of a better term, the faithful are in, where they like Donald Trump on the issues, they don't like the messenger, I guess. They have serious problems with Hillary Clinton, and then they get these emails where they find the exchanges back and forth about the religious, about Catholics, about evangelicals, and they don't know what to do. They don't know what to do.
That's right. And I find that it's when all hope seems lost, that's when you don't get discouraged and check out, but you lean in and you look to God. That's when he parted the Red Sea. And I'm really believing that this could be a Red Sea moment for you, for me, for us in our America story. So what I've decided to do is call a national family meeting. And I'm asking the family of faith to get together Tuesday night, October 18th. It's called Revive Us. And together in 1,000 theaters across the nation with Ben Carson, Francis Chan, Eric Metaxas, James McDonald, we're going to worship together, pray together, and learn together how to transform the nation.
Well, how will the theaters be connected? In other words, how does everyone communicate?
Well, they're connected through the technology of a company called Fathom, and we are satellite broadcast from downtown Chicago into 1,000 theaters simultaneously. And we're going to talk about how to transform the nation from the inside out and the bottom up. Not the top down, but the bottom up and the inside out. The way Patrick transformed Ireland, the way John Knox transformed Scotland, the way Whitfield and Sam Adams created the greatest nation on earth. And it starts with faith, knowing God, loving God, and then going from the heart out to the edges.
But that Patrick dude chased some snakes out of Ireland first, right?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
So does part of that require that we chase the bad politicians or those who say awful things out as well? Because by that count, on just ethics and decency, both of these candidates have serious problems, right?
Well, we know that's what good government does, is it's to chase away the snakes, it's to protect the good.
Or the snakes rise to a different standard. And
punish the evil. That's what good government does. And these are principles that all of us want to talk about, but where can we do it in a safe place?
But how do you handle that with kids? Now, we were talking in the break here, we each have kids, you have 6 kids, I guess, and you hear these allegations, and everything comes up on Mr. Trump, and then you hear Hillary Clinton and what appear to be lies, or between what she says in an open mic and what she tells closed-door audiences. Now, I promised I wasn't getting into politics, but that's a fair and balanced criticism of both, right? How do you explain that to kids who might be saying, I don't get any of this?
Yeah. Well, I know what I say to my kids. I say, kids, we live in a broken world. We live in a broken world, and that's why we can be so thankful that we live in a country that was built on principles that provide for an opportunity like this, for you and I to get out and have freedom of speech to talk about these things. And we can represent our own leaders. I mean, when in human history did people get to elect their own leaders prior to the United States of America coming to a place where we're taking the 10 Commandments and we're taking Judeo-Christian ethics and principles and forming a constitution and saying we're not going to have a king that just is a tyrant ruling us. We, the people, are going to rule ourselves because we have virtue, because we voluntarily serve the King of Kings.
What do you think of others who share your
How great
faith
is that?
and religious viewpoint and look the other way at the personal foibles of either candidate.
Say that again?
They share your religious views, a lot of voters, but they're now looking the other way when it comes to the foibles of candidates. How do you do that? How do you reconcile your religious views with what you see and hear?
Well, we live in crazy, challenging times, and it can be difficult, I think, to sort through all the issues, because we've got brush fires over here, brush fires over here. But what I try to keep my eye on is the 30,000-foot view. What is most important to me? What is most important is that we keep the Constitution central and intact, because that document has more in it that allows us to have the freedom to work through these issues together as a nation than people realize. We've got to understand that coming together, trusting God together, worshiping, praying, seeking God's help is of utmost importance.
But you don't think we've lost that?
Oh, we're losing it by the second. And that's why I'm saying we need to come together. That's what Revive Us is. That's my offering. Come together. Let's worship and pray with brilliant, faithful people, and let's learn the strategy that got us here.
But you talk about we have this freedom of speech. We don't have much more time, but you're not granted that same freedom, right? When you come out, as you did some years back, talking about gays, that was your opinion. You were strongly echoing something. You weren't alienating them. You just said if you want gay marriage, and they ripped you asunder. And I don't know how they're treating the Hollywood community. Obviously, still doing quite well. But it's certain freedom for certain folks, right?
That's the way that it is in our world today.
Did that come back to bite you, in other words, in your career? It didn't seem to.
No, it's an honor to stand up for what you hold as precious and sacred and true. And ultimately, we're doing all this for our kids, right? I've got a lot of skin in the game. So do you. Yeah. We want a great country for our children. And with everything that's dividing us from political views, religious views, racial values, I want to offer an opportunity of hope, vision, and courage for people of faith that believe that God has good things in the future, but don't know what to do on a practical level today because of all of the scandal and because of all of the terror. This is a chance to hear from people very wise, very smart, very full of faith, and to worship together. We're even going to answer people's questions from the theaters across the nation and have a time to discuss these things in the theaters after the event is finished.
Yeah, and it's cool. It's the day before the debate.
It is. I mean, just before, there's blood on the floor at the final presidential debate, we have a chance to blow hope and revival to fill the sails of the family of faith.
Not too shabby. Kirk Cameron, that is next Tuesday, right before the debate. And think about it. Whatever your views, you're free to have whatever you want to feel. And he's free, and other people are free to just mention a word like God. Think about that.